Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into a press statement that came out yesterday, May 14th. It's from the indigenous people of Biafra, or Ipob.
That's right. And this statement, it's from their media folks, and it's essentially their response to what's been happening with the Nigerian government and, the media buzz around their leader Matsi Nnamdi Kanu's trial.
Specifically about a death certificate that was presented.
Exactly. That seems to be a key point of contention for them.
Okay, so our mission here is to unpack IPOB's side of the story, really understand their arguments on these recent events. Let's kick things off with that death certificate. IPOB is framing it as some kind of media diversion.
Yeah, pretty much. They're arguing that all this focus on Ahmed Gulak's death certificate, he was an aide to former President Jonathan, you might recall, is basically a deliberate move.
A move to distract.
To distract, yes, from what they see as the prosecution's, failing case against Kanu. They even bring up a specific claim.
Oh.
They say a prosecution witness actually admitted under oath that there's no investigation report that supports the charges against Kanu.
Wow, okay. That's a significant claim if true. And linking back to the certificate itself, they're saying it just isn't relevant.
Entirely irrelevant, in their view. It has nothing to do with the specific charges Matsi Nnamdi Kanu is facing in this trial. That's their stance.
Got it. And beyond the certificate, they also seem to be raising issues with the prosecution's methods.
They are. There are accusations of, let's say, unethical legal moves. Specifically, they accuse the prosecution of trying to bring in new evidence after they'd already closed their examination.
Which is generally not allowed, right?
Typically, no. It goes against standard legal procedure in many systems.
Okay, let's pivot to the timeline they lay out. This involves the May 30th Remembrance Day back in 2021 and Ahmed Gulak's death. IPOB seems very precise here.
Extremely precise. They state their sit-at-home observance, which is, a protest method, was held on Monday, May 31st, 2021.
Okay, Monday the 31st.
But crucially, they claim Ahmed Gulak was actually murdered the day before that, on Sunday, May 30th.
Ah, I see. So the argument is the murder happened before their sit-at-home event even started.
Exactly. They're using this timeline, Sunday murder, Monday sit-at-home, as proof, essentially, that they couldn't have been involved in Gulak's death. The timing just doesn't work, they argue.
Right. And this specific point seems to feed into a much broader set of accusations they have against the Nigerian state.
It does. They connect this to a larger pattern, claiming the government uses misinformation, and they use the term historical revisionism.
Historical revisionism? How so?
Well, they argue it's a tool for ethnic persecution. They even draw a parallel to the 1966 coup, saying it was falsely labeled an Ipob coup to target a specific ethnic group.
That's a very charged historical comparison.
It is. And they feel something similar is happening now that IPOB is being falsely blamed for violence in the Southeast. Violence they claim might actually be state-engineered.
So, quite serious allegations across the board. Given all this, what is IPOB actually asking for? What are their demands?
Well, first, they're calling out to the media. They want news outlets to stick to truth, accuracy, objectivity. And practically, they want the media to push for full transcripts of the court proceedings to be released.
So transparency in the trial coverage.
Exactly. And of course, their central demand remains the same: the immediate, unconditional release of Matsi Nnamdi Kanu. They consistently refer to him as a prisoner of conscience.
Okay, so let's just quickly wrap up the main points from IPOB's perspective. They're saying the death certificate is a diversion from a weak case. It's irrelevant anyway. The prosecution acted unethically, and the timeline of Gulak's death proves their non-involvement.
And all of this, they argue, fits into a wider narrative of ethnic persecution fueled by state misinformation.
It certainly paints a picture of deep distrust and conflicting narratives.
It really does. And perhaps that leaves you, the listener, with something to think about. In these highly charged political